Florida for 5 minutes, Mr. Diaz-Balart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Shaw, how are you, sir? Just two questions before that. One quick point on the issue of the issue of the Twitter. So that Cubans could use Twitter in a country that access to the internet is frankly forbidden. I know I keep hearing a lot of folks talking about that it was this strange, covert, NSA program, and yet, if you look at the President's budget when it was created, they talk about exactly what it was about. I know a lot of the outrage coming from particularly one member of the Senate, and yet that same member of the Senate put language in the Senate bill, appropriations bill, last year, asking USAID to do, frankly, a similar program in Iran. So again, I just keep hearing all these things. I was a little bit shocked by the story from AP. I don't tend to criticize the press, but it's trying to come up as if this was some covert, strange operation, when in fact it's been in print, it's been looked at, reviewed by everyone, including GAO. My only concern there is I hope that we are able to do that, because it was a huge success for a while, and then obviously it became too big too quick, and all of a sudden kind of like outdid its funding. I'm just hoping, Dr. Shaw, that we look at options like that and things like that, not only for Cuba but other places where we need to try to break that internet and communication blockade. That's not for you to answer, just I'm hoping that you're looking at the success of that, and then we can hopefully try to replicate that. 2 points. I was recently, Dr. Shaw, in Haiti with a couple of my colleagues, and we visited a USAID housing project, the Damier, I know I'm not pronouncing that right, housing site. It was subject to a GAO report. I'm not going to get into what we saw there about the GAO report. I am just going to bring out another little issue. We all know that Haiti has an issue with the fact that they've cut down a lot of the trees just to cook charcoal, and so there's an initiative which I think is meritorious to see if you can get people off of charcoal onto gas. What we noticed, however, right away, because gas is more expensive than just buying, you can buy a couple of chunks of charcoal, and we noticed right away that some of the gas stoves that were provided by these programs were frankly just used as shelves, and we saw the charcoal stoves right next door. And so this is a question: have studies been done as to where that kind of program, if I'm assuming there's other places where we've had similar issues, where it's worked, where it hasn't worked, why it's worked, where it's worked, why it hasn't worked, where it's worked. I would imagine that there would be some things that you can kind of just pull off different studies before you attempt one. I fear that the one in Haiti, which is very well intentioned, may not have the desired effect, and that's if you want to just address that first.
Sure. Thank you, Congressman. And on that specific effort, it is important that over time Haitians stop cutting down trees and using them for charcoal. That is just, and there's been a huge amount of evidence to demonstrate how disastrous that is for their core productive agricultural economy, for example. So as part of the reconstruction effort and in providing 65,000 families with housing after the earthquake and in the reconstruction period, we have had some of these pilot efforts to do community conversion to LNG gas cook stoves. And what we've learned from prior efforts is that training for food vendors, for schools, for households is critically important. Initial subsidy for the LNG canisters is critical to get the new system up and running. That ongoing kind of household level community efforts to help people talk to each other and kind of move en masse both creates a market, and it creates enough social infrastructure that people can see their neighbors using it and be more comfortable with that practice. Some of the efforts in this regard have been successful in Haiti, others have not. And so we are in the process of evaluating all of these, learning and adapting the programs. But it's something we've got to keep trying to do. And you're right to direct us to look at best practices, which are pretty prevalent in many other parts of the world, where people have successfully made this transition and try to adapt those learnings to Haiti.
And I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm glad that you're aware of that. And there are areas where obviously it's not going to work, and we have to make it work. You're absolutely right. I'm just concerned that that we are making sure that it's the best practices. Other thing, Dr. Shaw, we visited a hospital, which is where Project Medishare is, at Bernard Meves Hospital, and incredible amount of volunteers, including Americans, who are there. And I know they're experiencing some electrical issues, some power issues. I don't know if if your folks have had an opportunity to look at that, but it's a crucial, it's a hospital that obviously is very important to Haiti, and we can get you some more information. And lastly, well, I'm out of time, Mr. Chairman, so maybe we'll have a second round to talk a little bit about Venezuela.
Okay, thanks.